Oh.
See, I have a little singer that she should be out there by that piano right now. And when he did that, I said, listen, I said, you have to give me a fat singer. I say, my singer is a fat singer because my daughter's very heavy.
Uh-huh.
I said, she's a fat singer, so you give me a fat singer. So he gave her the fat singer.
I love her. I love that. I mean, I want to take. I love all the art in here. It's like, oh my God, look at that.
That is fun. That's the
Ah.
best move on that checkerboard that I could ever make. I like it. It does a lot for me, and I think it has done a lot for the community too. Because you see, when I first started collecting this art in '78, that was a good checker on that board. I got kinged with that checker. Yeah, that was a good one. That was a good move. I had a woman who was really good for me. She's dead. Celestine Cook. She was just wonderful, and she knew how to play that board too. And she told me, she said, Leah, this is going to be good for you and good for your business. I have met so many people, so many good people that helped me all about the art. And I try to tell that to people in business. It is good for your business. Support the arts.
And Celestine Cook is the one who...
Yeah, she really helped me. I didn't know from one thing about anything. That's how I met Jake Lawrence. And so she said, Leah, I want you to come to the museum because I have Jake Lawrence coming. And Jake Lawrence was the first black person to have a show in that museum. So I go down there, and I don't know one thing about nothing, darling. I'm just going to dress up nice. Got to dress up, I thought, to go to the museum. So I'm all dressed up. And then it came time for the lecture. So I'm following the crowd. I'm sitting down nicely. I don't know one thing from the other. So I know one thing. When you don't know, you shut your mouth and listen. So I just shut my mouth and listen. But when Jake got up there to talk about his art and his migration series, well, I think I could relate to it because we came from the same neck of the woods. He came through that WPA era just like me. So I could relate to all of that. It was a wonderful experience for me, just wonderful, just listening to him talk and seeing what he can do. So I looked around that museum, and I never saw so much beauty in my life. So then the next year I was on the board. I still don't know, not going to fit. So I just sit there and listen and look nice for a long time. Then I realized this. Everybody, we all don't have the same things to work with. But you work with what you have, you see. I knew I could cook. I knew I can cook. And I don't care if you're the Pope, if you're anybody, you got to eat. So I can feed you. So I start helping to fundraise through the means I knew how, with food and however I could do, however I could get people involved in the museum. My job was to get some black involvement in the arts, because at that time we were left out on our own accord then. It wasn't like when Elizabeth Catlett came through. She had to battle her way through to get in that museum when she was teaching at Dillard. But
Did you meet her?
Oh, I love her. She's my good friend. Yep, she's my good friend. She'll be down here in March.
She's another one of the visionaries.
She's a wonderful woman.
Yes, and I noticed that you've got one of her pieces up on the wall.
I got about 3 or 4 of Elizabeth. She's just a wonder. She taught me a lot. You see, just knowing these people just taught me a lot. She is just wonderful.
And when you met them, I mean, it's wonderful to hear you talk about Jacob Lawrence as Jake. So
he's just a wonderful guy. I love him. I just sent something to his wife up there in Seattle. They were just a lovely pair because he was so talented and so down to earth. You could learn from him. You could learn to appreciate art. You could learn to appreciate him. So much you could learn from these people.
But I think a lot of people would listen to what you're saying, and particularly young people who might be feeling a little insecure about themselves and say, Well, I wouldn't know how to react around a famous artist. I wouldn't, when you say, learn something from them, what am I supposed to do? Admit that I don't know anything about, I'm supposed to...
Just be yourself. Just be yourself. You don't admit to not knowing. You can tell them, look, I don't know, don't think about this. So what? Just be yourself. But do one thing, appreciate their talent. Show your appreciation for their talent. And I think people who do special things deserve your appreciation. Even in your job, I could not do your job. I appreciate you. I love Oprah Winfrey. I am so proud of her. I feel like I've seen people grow. You've seen now, in my day, would I ever dream of seeing the likes of an Oprah Winfrey? So I appreciate that. I love her. I just appreciate everything they're doing, and that's all we have to learn to do, is appreciate each other's talents, and learn to bring something good out, whatever. All these rap things with this horrible language and this horrible thing. But if we could stop and talk to them and pull some good out of them, they're talented. So get rid of, you don't have to prove anything to anybody with this stuff you're doing here. Just use your natural talent. And you have to do that. You have to appreciate everybody and everything.
So how did your current cuisine evolve? I mean, how you
go
gave
back,
up on
you learn as you go. You're learning. You got to learn every move you make in life. You're learning. You can learn from everybody. People say, "Well, who's your role model?" It's the stupidest question you ever heard. No one person can or should be your role model, because you could look at everybody. I can learn something from you. I can learn something from you. So you picking everybody. And then you get a little bit from you, a little bit from me, and everybody really becomes your role model, because you're just picking people to death, trying to learn and that's what I did. Everybody you come across, everything you do, every book you read, and mine was always food, always restaurants, and I still do that. I get out of here at 11 o'clock at night, and my daughter said, "Why don't you come to bed?" But I'm in that restaurant magazine. I'm in that book because I love it.